What is the best way to get rid of a lawn to make a new garden? I had a small project this spring where I wanted to extend the garden bed out into the lawn, and so I had a small strip of lawn to kill. And so I considered my options. One way is to get out a shovel and dig up the lawn and take it away. That works really well, but it is a fair amount of work. Another option is to use a herbicide and just kill the grass. But of course there's a cost to that and you're using chemicals. A third option is something called lasagna gardening, or what I prefer to call sheet mulching. That's where you put down some paper or cardboard and put some organic matter on top and let it sit for a while, and that kills the grass, and then you can plant in it. But in this project, I decided to use a slightly modified lasagna method, which I think would be better for gardeners. If you think about this sheet mulching process, you put down the paper and then organic matter on top. That organic matter is there partly to improve the soil, but it's also there to kill the grass. The paper keeps the light away, the grass can't grow, and it dies. It's as simple as that. Well, let's skip the paper part. If we just take 3 inches of organic matter and put it on top of the grass, that will also kill lawn grass. At least that works for cold weather grass. There are some warm weather grasses that might grow through that, but our Kentucky blue type grass is killed very easily with 3 inches of mulch on top. So I thought I'd try this method and see how it worked. And I was pretty confident it would work. Well, stay tuned and see what happens. Now the fourth method I'd like to tell you about is the one that I've used here. And I think it's one of the better options. I just covered the grass with organic material. I happen to have a lot of shredded leaves from last fall, which were used to mulch my garden back here. I took that material and I covered the grass. I also went out and got some grass clippings and threw that on top. Around the tree here, I removed some of the soil to level it, and I took that extra soil and I threw that on top. It doesn't really matter what material you use. The trick here is to get a layer that's 2 or 3 inches thick sitting on top of that grass. For cold season grass, that's all you need to kill it. Doesn't need very much. Even 2 inches probably will do the job. The grass tries to grow, but since it can't get any light, it starts dying off. Now the advantage of this method is that once you're done, you've got all this organic matter to dig into the soil to improve it. Another upside is that you don't have to go and find newspaper and cardboard. Now these days cardboard is pretty easy to find, but newspaper is becoming pretty rare. And I don't like cardboard because it just takes far too long to decompose. In zone 5, cardboard takes a whole year to decompose, and I don't want to wait that long. You do have to find some organic matter for this method to work. But if it's fall, you've got lots of that laying around. All those leaves, just gather them up and just spread it on your lawn. That will kill it. And all your neighbors are trying to get rid of the leaves, so help them out and bring them to your garden. It's a little harder to find that organic matter in spring, but by then I hope you've got it all over your garden because you're using it as a mulch anyway. Again, one of the disadvantages is that you do have to wait for the grass to die. Now I started this bed about 3.5 weeks ago, and I thought the grass would be dead by now. But I'm in zone 5 and we had a cold spell. So for 10 days we had rain, really cold weather. At night it went down to about freezing. So the grass didn't really grow very much. It's only in the last week that it's gotten warm enough for the grass to start growing. So it's not quite dead yet. But if we have a close look here, you'll see that a lot of the grass is dead. And it's having trouble growing because it's getting no light. I need to give this bed another week or so before I can start planting. It's June 1st, and it's been 2 months since I started to convert the grass that was here into a new garden. My plan was to simply cover everything with organic matter, kill the grass, and then plant. That hasn't worked out very well. 2 months after starting this, there's still grass under this mulch. Some areas I just went ahead and planted because I used annuals, and I figured if the grass comes through, I'll just get rid of it later in the season. But in this area here where I put perennials, I didn't want any grass coming through, so I ended up taking the mulch away and using a shovel, I dug up the grass and took it away. People online always talk about this sheet mulching is working so great. Cover your grass, wait a few weeks, and the grass is dead. Well, that's simply not true. It's been 2 months. The grass is still alive. Now it's mostly dead, but there's still living grass. If I started planting here, the grass will grow through my plants. And in perennials, that's a nightmare to try and get rid of that later. So is this a good way to kill grass? When I started this experiment, I thought it would take 2 to 3 weeks for me to kill the grass by covering it with old leaves. I was sure it would smother quickly. That didn't happen. It's taken many weeks to do this. Whether this is a good way to do it or not depends on your goals. If you want the grass gone quickly so you can plant, which is what I wanted in this area, it's not a really great way of getting rid of grass. On the other hand, if you have time, it is a good way. Adds organic matter to the soil, very little work. You just cover it up and wait. If you want to know about some other options for killing the grass, have a look at this video right here.